Mr. Steiner, I want to begin with a few questions for you. Do you know how many of the drivers who haul mail for USPS are using non-domiciled CDLs?
To my knowledge, at this point, none.
Do you know if it's a lot or just a few?
None.
So from what I'm hearing from mail processing centers, there's been quite a few. In fact, I've heard from several large ones who have said something to the extent about half of the drivers who are coming to pick up mail appear to be non-domiciled, that they typically don't even speak English. I've heard that over half of them don't speak English. There's been suggestions that many of them are perhaps illegal aliens. Are you familiar with that?
I'm not sure where that information comes from, but
it's coming from major mail processing facilities.
That probably wouldn't surprise me, but my guess is that...
Sorry, it wouldn't surprise you that there's a lot of drivers who are non-domiciled?
No, it wouldn't surprise me that that's where the information's coming from, because if you look at the information from our United States Postal Inspection Service, which everybody that hauls for us has to go through a check with them, I think they've probably got better information.
And what is that information?
That every driver that drives for us, whether they're an employee or whether they're part of a third-party contractor, has to go through and make sure that they are a domiciled CDL holder.
Is that being enforced? Because I've been told by multiple different parties that that rule is not, in fact, being enforced in any meaningful way.
I've been told by our Postal Service that it is.
Okay. Well, I've got this is from a whistleblower, postal whistleblower. Here are multiple non-domiciled licenses from 1 hour of check-ins at one USPS facility. This was from March of 2026 that's been recorded.
Yeah, if you'd send that on to us, I'll have our Postal Inspection Service look at that and find out what happened.
We've also got recording from Pete Rosalius, who's the VP of Transportation Strategy at USPS, who has said, quote, we didn't understand the magnitude of how many people are using non-domiciled CDLs, suggesting that attempted to stop this practice, but realized that there are too many drivers who are using these non-domiciled CDLs, so it wasn't, I guess, practicable to enforce that particular ruling. Are you familiar with that at all?
Not familiar at all, no.
So it's your testimony that there are no CDL or no mail carriers, who are non-domiciled CDL drivers?
No, my testimony is that I'm not aware of the conversation that you're referencing.
Okay. What are you guys doing to ensure that there are no non-domiciled CDL drivers carrying our mail?
Our Postal Inspection Service looks at everybody that drives mail.
Can you explain how that's being enforced?
How do you mean, how's it being enforced?
How are you ensuring that none of the drivers are in fact non-domiciled?
We require our third-party contractors.
But by what mechanism are you enforcing that, other than a theoretical requirement?
I don't know how you can do anything other than in person, right? I mean, our folks are...
Are drivers required to use a post badge?
As far as I know, they are, yes.
And I've heard from multiple mail processing facilities who are telling me that none of that is being enforced in any meaningful way. And it seems, based on...
If you'll bring me that information, we'll make sure it stops.
I'd be happy to do that, because I don't think that makes our roads any safer.
No, you're absolutely right. And look, we all agree that safety is number one, but let's put it in perspective. You have 2,000 deaths every year from gig drivers driving. Mm-hmm. You've got other companies using them to deliver packages. Mm-hmm. Those folks are untrained.
USPS is outsourcing that as well.
We don't have any gig drivers for the United States Postal Service.
But the mail carriers, are not necessarily USPS employees. Is that correct?
That is not correct.
They're all employees. You don't outsource any of that.
We do not.
You don't outsource. So every single delivery truck that is carrying mail in the United States is an employee of USPS.
That delivers to our customers, absolutely.
Or that is transporting mail.
Oh no, transporting mail is a whole different animal.
That's what
We're talking about
here.
Delivery.
I don't
think gig drivers are transporting mail. They're transporting individual packages to customers, and there's 2,000 people dying every year because they're going through the neighborhoods.
That's what we're concerned about.
So let's put it in perspective. You're absolutely right. So let's put it in perspective. 2,000 people died because we had gig drivers that are probably unlicensed, mm-hmm. They're probably uninsured, they're untrained, and they're killing people not on the highways. They're killing people in neighborhoods. Go talk to homeowner associations and ask about the people that are driving through the neighborhood, speeding through the neighborhood when their kids are playing to deliver a small package that should be delivered by the United States Postal Service. And so I completely agree with you on the CDL issue. We've taken care of that. I'd like to see us look at taking care of the gig drivers that are driving through our neighborhoods.
Thank you, Mr. General. Appreciate it.
Congressional oversight of the United States Postal Service often centers on the last mile of delivery, but on March 17, 2026, the focus shifted to the backbone of the agency, the transportation of mail between processing facilities. During a House Oversight Committee hearing, Representative Brandon Gill of Texas confronted Postmaster General David Steiner regarding allegations of systemic lapses in commercial driver's license (CDL) enforcement. To understand the 2026 legal landscape, we must analyze the specific role of non-domiciled CDLs and the vetting protocols for third-party contractors. A central theme of this hearing was the non-domiciled CDL controversy. A non-domiciled CDL is issued by a state to individuals who are not permanent residents or citizens but have legal work authorization. However, Representative Gill presented whistleblower evidence from March 2026 suggesting that many drivers hauling mail appeared to be using licenses that did not meet domicile requirements, with some allegations pointing toward illegal aliens operating within the supply chain. From an educational perspective, this illustrates the vetting gap in federal contracting. While the Postmaster General testified that the Postal Inspection Service conducts checks on all drivers, whistleblowers at major processing centers alleged that half of the incoming drivers lacked domicile status and often struggled with English proficiency, a key safety and regulatory requirement for commercial operations. The discourse then shifted to the enforcement feasibility debate. Representative Gill cited an internal recording from a USPS vice president suggesting that the agency didn't understand the magnitude of the non-domiciled driver issue and found it not practicable to enforce the domicile ruling due to the sheer volume of drivers. This represents a classic regulatory standoff, the tension between strict legal requirements and the operational necessity of keeping the mail moving. The Postmaster General maintained that domicile rules are being enforced, yet the conflict between administrative testimony and whistleblower data from 2026 indicates a significant challenge in oversight within the USPS's vast network of third-party transportation partners. A particularly revealing portion of the hearing involved the contractor versus employee distinction. Postmaster General Steiner clarified a vital administrative point. While actual door-to-door mail carriers are USPS employees, the transportation of mail between hubs is heavily outsourced to third-party contractors. This is where the subcontractor liability comes into play. In the 2025 to 2026 cycle, legislative scrutiny has increased on these middle-mile logistics providers. The hearing examined whether the USPS has a robust mechanism to ensure these contractors comply with the Commercial Motor Vehicle Safety Act, or if they are merely relying on theoretical requirements that are easily bypassed at the facility gate. The hearing also touched upon road safety and gig delivery. In a pivot to broader public safety, the Postmaster General defended the USPS's safety record by contrasting it with the gig economy delivery model. He cited 2026 data suggesting 2,000 annual deaths related to gig drivers who may be unlicensed or uninsured. This highlights the competitive safety standard, the argument that by bringing more delivery volume back into the structured USPS system, and away from untrained gig workers, neighborhood safety is improved. However, as Representative Gill pointed out, these safety arguments lose weight if the middle-mile drivers transporting that very mail are themselves operating with questionable licensing. In summary, the March 2026 House Oversight hearing reveals a postal service grappling with the integrity of its supply chain. Whether it is debating the percentage of non-domiciled drivers in Texas facilities or the effectiveness of Postal Inspection Service audits, every exchange is a lesson in how accountability is enforced within a federal agency that relies on thousands of private partners. These are not merely partisan talking points, they are foundational questions about the security of the mail and the safety of American highways. By understanding the link between contractor vetting, domicile requirements, and federal oversight, viewers gain a clearer view of the logistical and legal standards that will define the U.S. Postal Service for the next generation.